on it.
I'm Ore.
I'm Cassie J.
W-
Cassie
Oh,
J.
wow. What is happening? Did you forget your name?
I didn't, but I was like we introduce ourselves every time. I'm like, at this point, surely everybody knows who we are.
Well, if you have joined us before, but if you're brand new,
Fan, if you're brand new,
welcome.
I'm Cassie J. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us.
And we hope you stay.
Stick around. It's a wild ride.
Is it though? It's an
Yeah,
okay
sometimes.
ride. It's not that wild.
I think it's
We're
a little bit wild.
mostly sane.
We're mostly saying, I just think sometimes the stories we discuss, truly, like,
Oh,
I'll listen to them back and I'll be like, wild. People are going through
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
The stories sometimes will rock you, will shake your faith in
Will
humanity.
shake you. Yeah. You're like, Jeepers, is this really the world we're living in? And the answer to that
Yeah.
question, ladies and gentlemen, is yes. Yes, it is.
And it'll probably get much worse before it gets better.
I wouldn't say that because it's pretty bad.
I know. But usually the way these things happen is that it usually gets a lot worse. And then everyone's like, we've had enough. And then you have like a revolution
A
and
revolution.
people
Viva
decide
la
to,
revolution. I just can't speak
people
French.
decide they've had enough and then something will change, you know?
Yeah,
So
fair, 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 fair.
look, sometimes I blame myself for some of the things that I watch on TV. Now, if you've been
Okay.
around for any amount of time, you know how I love my procedurals.
You do love your procedurals.
You know how I love them, and you know how I love Captain Benson at the SVU, Manhattan SVU.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so I was watching an episode. So Saturdays is has now fully become Law and Order binge day.
Oh, it used to be
Because it's
Sunday,
on
now it's
TV.
Saturday.
No, like the season was out, so there were no new episodes. But then on TV, they
Oh,
they
I
play like
see.
old episodes on
Reruns.
Saturday throughout till 7 p.m. Isn't that amazing?
Wow, that's
I'm like from
amazing.
morning, yeah.
You must be
So
so happy. You must love that.
living my best life. Just watching the chaos. There was this one the no, I knew and then I forgot. There was this one Saturday I was just exhausted. I'd had a week. And so I got up in the morning and I just wanted to eat and like go back to bed. And I'm like,
Okay.
background noise. I turned the TV on. SVU is on. I did not get out of bed that day. Everything that needed to happen happened in that bed. All the humaning happened in that bed. I got food, I came back. I went to pee, I came back. I just till 7 p.m. when the women's football game came on. That's when I was like, okay, it's done now. Oh no, actually, when that happened, then I went on movies.do to be like, where did we stop on TV? Let me track that episode.
Oh
I
my
googled it and
God.
then played the episode that should have followed. Isn't that
That's
wild?
wild. I can't watch too much SVU back to back
I
because I
know.
get really sad about
Same.
the state of the world because the stuff is just so hectic and it breaks my heart. So I can watch like maybe 3 episodes, but then after that I'm like I can't watch any more of this.
That's why I say I blame myself because then I'll
Oh, I
watch it and then now
see.
I'm mad at the world, I'm mad at men, like I'm
Yes.
just so that's why I say I blame myself. So I think
Got
it was
it.
2 weeks ago there was an episode that came on and I hadn't seen that one before, or maybe I don't remember it. I've not watched there's like 20, well, we're in season 25,
Yeah.
24. I don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't watched all 25, but
Oh,
I've made
okay.
a dent in it. I've watched a
Okay.
lot of it. And I'm currently on a mission to watch all 25.
I
So
believe
I
in you.
went earlier this year, I went all the way back to season 1 cuz I think
Okay.
I started watching it from like season 10 when I was a
Mm,
kid, like when it's on TV. So I went back to
mm,
just
mm,
try and
mm.
anyway, so this episode comes on and typical SVU case, right? It is this girl who's been assaulted by this privileged white boy, and she's an immigrant, and she's now in court, and Captain Benson is just in the court, just because the case was it her case? I think it might have been her case. Anyway, so the judge the the defendant is being represented by a female lawyer who Liv
Okay.
knows. So the
Okay.
judge comes back with, like, his judgment is that, look, I want to say this and I want to be clear. The point and the purpose of consent is that you can withdraw it at any given time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether we started. And I remember I had a show once and this guy was like, but I've already entered. Why are you saying no? My guy, come back out. She said no. It doesn't matter. Like,
Wow.
he literally was like, I've already entered. And I'm like, nobody cares. If she said no at
She's
that
done.
point,
It's
she's
I'm
done.
done. No,
It's
thank
done.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the argument against this girl was that you followed him to his house. You chose to drink, but now you are saying you said no and he didn't listen to you, and so it's rape. And the judge was like, you regret what you did, and so now you're crying rape, like it's not. So he was like, literally,
Wow.
yeah, he was like, I'm not gonna, in these, sometimes these privileged, and I'm not saying why all white people are bad, but these privileged snotty ones can be very annoying. I just want to punch some of them in the
Yeah.
face. That's who
Yeah.
this judge was. His argument was he's not going to ruin the life of a promising young man just because you changed your mind. It was dumb. So
I
he threw the
cannot
case out.
believe that.
He threw the case out. Liv was livid. Haha,
Of
Liv was livid.
course. Of
um,
course she was. That's awful. And we see it, I mean, this is season 10, so it was probably many, many
no,
years
this
ago.
isn't
We
season
still see
10.
it.
This isn't season 10.
Oh,
This is more
this is
recent
now.
because she was already Captain Benson. So this is
Oh,
like,
I see. Okay.
yeah, somewhere from season 20.
Irrespective, we see this today. Like even when they talk about sexual assault cases, they will frame it like if it's a privileged white man, they get framed as, like, oh, I saw some swimmer who was gearing up to be an Olympic swimmer who went to
Mm,
Stanford, raped
mm,
someone. And the
mm,
headlines were Stanford future Olympian uh you know is embroiled in,
mm,
instead of
mm,
being
mm.
like rapist, sentenced to jail. it's
No,
it's like, no, call a spade a spade. It's
no,
this
your
idea that we need to
status
protect
matters
their
more.
image. Yeah, it's wild, it's wild, it's wild, it's wild.
Anyway, so the judge has now thrown this thing out. Liv is upset. Everyone's mad. Carisi's mad. Sorry, if you've not watched Law and Order SVU, try an episode. I will warn you, it is hectic. So go
It
in
is
prepped.
heavy.
Go
It
in
is
with your
super
drinks
heavy.
and your sugar
mm,
and your blankie and
mm,
your box of tissues.
mm,
It's wild.
mm, mm.
So then they find out. I don't even know what happens, but somehow they find out from someone that the judge, when he was in uni, he raped
Yeah.
someone and ruined her life, and she couldn't go to
Oh,
law school and whatever. So they track this woman down. And then, as these stories often go, it's not one woman, it's not two women, it's not
yeah,
three. There's like
yeah,
a bunch of women across his career, from when he was in uni to when he was in law school, up to him
yeah.
being on the bench, that he has sexually
Shoo.
assaulted his mentees, the people that have worked with his clerks. It's wild. So now they've brought charges against him, right? And this female lawyer who represented that boy is now representing the judge. And the
Shoo.
at the end of that scene, the court scene where the judge threw out the boy's case, Liv says to the lawyer says to Liv, sorry, that was a hard loss. But like, she said to Liv, but I had home advantage. And she was implying that the judge and the boy, like, they knew each
Our
other. So
besties.
she knew that the boy
Mm,
was guilty. And
mm,
now you're repping this judge. So you know already that he's not pure. So
mm.
Liv, so they do like a press conference where she's standing up for the judge and saying how he's the best thing since sliced bread. And then afterwards, Liv goes up to her, and this is what wrecked me. Liv goes up to her to be like, why are you doing this? You know he's guilty. You know he's been doing
Correct.
this thing for years. Why are you
My question exactly.
defending him? And the lawyer went on to say how things are changing in the world, but not the way that we want it to change. And you need to be on the right side of it. Otherwise, you get kicked out. Da, 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 da. And then she made this statement. She was like, it's not going to change. So lie back and pretend you're enjoying it. I'm not kidding. Verbatim, exact words. Lie back and pretend you're enjoying it. The Nigerian in me wants to be like, Mogbe, what?
Cannot be involved. It's too much. It's too much. And the thing
Shuketa.
oh gosh, I'm feeling
The thing
so
is how
many
true it
emotions.
is, isn't it? How true it is. And like, this is a very good example of fiction imitating life. Like, it isn't it how it is. Do you know how many times women have been told, lie back and pretend you're enjoying it? Like, you don't want to get
Oh,
married, but you have to get married, so pretend. You don't want to have kids, but you're supposed to, so pretend. You don't want to cook and clean
I
and
can't
bear
deal
babies
with
for the rest of
this
your life, so
level
pretend.
of thinking.
I'm just
I
like,
can't. You,
women
I'm
like
so
this,
shook of.
women like
I'm
this,
not okay. I'm not
what?
okay, Ore. I'm not okay. I am not
I wasn't
okay.
okay. And I was like, I cannot not be okay all by myself. I'm going to drag Cassie J into this thing. Look, do not, I repeat, do not lie back and pretend you're enjoying it. Our ancestors and the all the multitude of the waves of feminism have not come and gone so that you can lie back and pretend you're
Lie
enjoying
back
it.
and pretend you're enjoying it. We
No.
need you to kick,
Kick,
shout,
scream.
scream until something happens, until
My
there is change,
goodness.
until people hear you. We can't do
What?
this thing where we lie back and pretend
We
like we're enjoying it. I'm so
no.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I
If I'm
cannot
not
be
going to get
involved.
promoted just because I'm choosing not to lie back and pretend, okay, we tear the whole thing down.
Tear
I'm
it
not
to the
going to
mother
pretend.
freaking
What?
ground.
And the truth of the matter is that sometimes you find yourself in a position, or you find yourself in a place where you don't actually know what to do. You know,
Correct.
you don't know how to fight back. You don't know how to kick
Correct.
and how to scream. You
Correct.
feel like you're powerless. Your
Correct.
voice isn't loud enough. You like
Mm,
you're mentally not capable to
mm,
take on the world, take on the
mm,
patriarchy, take on whoever.
mm, mm,
Sometimes you find yourself in those positions. You're like, I don't actually know what to do here. I feel like that's acceptable. The
mm.
and if we're being real and we're being honest, sometimes you might need to lie back, but do not pretend that you are enjoying it. Even while you're lying there, kick someone. Even while
Kick.
you're being forced, kick
Even
someone,
if you get
yell
one
at someone.
scratch in, get
Even
that
if you get
scratch
one scratch
in.
in, do not ever, because she was speaking metaphorically, because what she was basically saying is, I have to represent him because he's asked me to do that. And if I don't do it, I'm going to get screwed. My career, he's going to toss my career out. And I've worked so hard to get where I am. I'm not going to allow him or anyone else to throw me off the roof, is basically what her argument was. But lie back and pretend you're enjoying it?
I
What the
mean,
hell?
talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place, truly. Like,
I For sure.
but
For
at the
sure.
same time, like at some point, there needs to be also and we've talked about this as well, like a value system that's guiding your decision making process. And I don't say that lightly. Like
Mm,
I don't think that we say what we're saying now without the understanding that there will be consequences for kicking, shouting, and
of
screaming. You
course.
know, there is going to be a consequence, something is going to happen, and it might not be good for you in the moment, but best
Yeah.
believe the future will hold promise. Because if we don't make noise now,
Mm.
if we don't make noise now, we are laying the foundation for 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 just shitty life.
For it to get
Like
so much
for
worse.
it to get so
Because
so
as
so
bad
much
as you think
worse.
it is now, there is room for it to get so much worse. And if we don't kick and we don't scream and we don't yell and we don't make
I'm
ourselves heard,
losing my ability to be eloquent because truly what you've told me has it has upset me so deeply. Like I am
I
deeply,
was
deeply upset.
I think I'm doing better because, I've had time to sit with it. I was so upset that day. You know, when you're upset and you're yelling at the TV and you look
Yeah.
like a
I
crazy
think
person?
I think what's making me upset is what you've actually said is that this was portrayed on TV in a TV show, but the reality is that it is the lived experience of millions of women every single day.
Every single
Like
day, for sure.
every single day, women are being told in some way, shape, or form, lie back and pretend you're enjoying it.
Yep.
Um, and are feeling helpless and are feeling lost and are feeling like what do I do? How do I fix it?
Mm-hmm.
How do I change it? You know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to lie back. I don't want to pretend. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
happy with the status quo, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
trapped because what do I do?
What
How
do
do I
I
fix
do?
it?
Exactly.
You know?
And that's actually what I
Oh,
wanted us to talk about today because fighting back will look different for different
mm,
people and in different
mm,
scenarios. And sometimes
mm,
fighting back isn't going to be an instant reaction or an instant thing that happens. Sometimes it's going to
mm.
take you walking away from the situation,
Correct.
getting reinforcements or getting training or prepping yourself for battle, getting the receipts, whatever. Sometimes it means looking like you're lying back and doing nothing. Meanwhile, you are
Mm,
fighting really hard so that when you come back to attack the issue, you know what to do. You have the support, you have the receipts, you have the proof, you have whatever it is required for you to actually fight back. Sometimes
mm,
fighting back means seeking help outside of yourself, outside of
mm,
your circle, because you're like, this is so far beyond me. I need
mm.
someone else to step in. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do. Um, I wanted to just go through some scenarios and we can chat about it. It's not like Cassie and I have the answers either, but
I don't. I
I'm
don't want to
hoping
lie.
that I'm hoping that we just open these conversations and maybe we can have, your input as well. We can have other
Yeah,
people join
yeah,
the conversation and we can all figure this thing out because
yeah.
it's bigger than any single person, you know.
Mm,
And anyway, so that's the journey I'm hoping to go on. And I don't honestly don't know where we're going to end up, but we'll give it a shot. So, um, here's what we're going to discuss: how to fight back in a few scenarios, and we'll just chat about
mm,
it and we'll see. So,
mm,
the first
mm,
one is if you're being bullied at work.
mm.
How do you fight back if you're being bullied at work? So, whether it's a toxic environment or it's someone making crude comments about you because you're a woman and you look nice in a skirt or whatever, like how do you fight back if you're being bullied at work? Cass, thoughts?
You know, I have many thoughts. You've,
I've
there's so
rocked
many
Cassandra.
things I am feeling. Like, I'm really, really upset right now. Like, I'm not okay.
I know.
I'm
I've
really not
rocked you.
okay. Being bullied at work, I, I have been bullied at work. I want to say that.
You
Um,
have been bullied at work. I can
thank you.
testify.
Thank you so much. Okay, I feel validated in that. I've been bullied at work, okay? And it has been really hard. Like I don't want to lie to you. I felt very much like I didn't get the support of people because it's not like I was being bullied and I was quiet about it. You know,
Yeah.
I went to the right channels. I reported that there was an issue. I said, "Hey guys, something is broken here. Help me." Okay.
Mm,
And I did not get help. I
yeah.
didn't get it. Okay. I was told that I need to find a way to make it work. I was told that I need to practice dealing with, difficult situations and difficult people. I was told, and when I say bullied, I mean like truly, truly a WhatsApp group created where people were discussing me, like
Wait, what? I didn't
discussing,
hear this before.
yeah.
This is new information.
There
What?
was a WhatsApp group that was created where they were discussing. I don't think that I was the intent of the WhatsApp group. I will say that. But I saw messages on a group where they were discussing how terrible I am and but like the things that I discussing what I'm wearing, discussing what I'm wearing
Um,
to work that day, discussing what I am, discussing the things that I'm saying, discussing my relationships with different people at the office, accusing me of being in sexual relationships with people in the office, right? Yeah,
Cassandra, I this is the first time hearing of this. What?
because I, and this is my answer to the question, I didn't give it energy.
Mm,
I gave it no energy. Was I upset? Absolutely. Was I hurt? Deeply. Okay. But I gave it no energy. I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm not getting help from the people I was hoping to get help from. Okay.
yeah.
I'm also not going to let this thing break me because
Mm.
this group of women, and it was older women in the office, which is also just
Of course it is. But
like
of
older
course.
women in the office led by one particular person who just really didn't love me, and she was much older, like when I say much older, I mean like 30 years older than I am now,
Hectic.
and you would think that this would be someone, as a fellow woman in leadership, would hopefully be someone that I could look up to and connect with, but that was not my experience anyway.
Mm.
So, in answer to the question, how do you deal with being bullied at work, amongst friends, from even, people of the opposite sex, whatever it is in a relationship, do not give it energy. And for me, I was like, I'm going to take the time to understand my worth. I understand what it is that I bring to the table. I understand that I am performing. I understand that I am someone that other people are looking to be like, okay, Cassie's got it. The positive. I focused on what was positive and what was the things that were being said positively about me, which far, far, far outweighed what this group of small-minded women were thinking and saying and doing. So that's my answer. Do not give it energy. Don't give it energy.
That's difficult.
I'm not saying that it wasn't hard. I'm not saying that it wasn't hard because there was definitely a time where I went away to be like, I looked at myself and I looked at my body and I looked at my clothes and I looked at my relationships that I was having with people in the office to be like, oh, is the perception that I'm in this thing, do I need to change the way that I'm acting? Like it wasn't a switch that I flicked and I was like, well, screw you guys. It was a journey and it was tough and it was difficult and it was hard and it was sore. I do not want to lie. It was sore. I was hurt, so deeply, deeply hurt. But I
Mm,
just was like, I can't. And my dad is actually someone who really helped me a
mm,
lot because I went to him and I would be like, this is what happened today.
mm.
And again, it's something he said before. He was like, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 minutes thinking about it.
Yeah,
And that, again, not to say that it's not sore, but you need to find the strength to realize that in the greater scheme of things,
yeah,
this is not the be all and the end all that is going to
yeah,
define you and shape you.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I think I think that I agree with, what you'd initially said about going to the right authorities, the right people
Yeah.
to be like, this is what's happening. So go to HR,
Yeah.
go to your direct manager, go to someone,
Mm,
tell them this is what's happening. Like don't lie back and pretend you're
mm,
enjoying it. Say something
mm.
about it. Do all the right things, but also and I'm struggling to agree, but I know that it is the right thing because the one thing a bully wants from you is for you to react. It's for you to lose your shit, it's for you to have a complete
Correct.
meltdown. That's what they really
Correct.
want. You'd
That's
be giving
what they're
into
after.
them.
Yeah.
So
100%.
definitely don't try not to do that. Like again, ignore it, walk away, don't give it energy. It is difficult to do. But I think that at the end of the day, because I've seen it said often, like if you don't give them what they want, they get bored and they move on to someone else,
Mm,
because they're chasing
mm,
this reaction. So if you don't give it energy and you just keep doing your best at work or wherever it is, hopefully they walk away, or hopefully the
yeah.
authorities, the people who are supposed to protect you in the workplace, actually take
We'll
your
do
complaints
that.
seriously and do the right thing.
In
But
an ideal
if
world, that is the outcome that you would hope for.
it
I
doesn't always
think
happen though.
it doesn't always happen. I think you're right to say report it. I think you're right to say that their intended outcome is for you to fall apart, but they also their intended outcome is for you to suffer in silence. Like they
Yeah,
don't
don't do
want you to
that.
make noise about it, right? They don't want you to
Don't
make
do
noise about
that.
it. They want
Yeah.
it gives them an element of control over you, you know,
Yeah.
when you keep it in quiet. But the moment you bring it to the light,
Yeah.
they do lose some of their power, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Don't lie back and pretend. Report it. Tell
Mm,
everyone that you know is the right person to tell so that they hopefully do something about it. But
mm,
also, don't give them too much energy or too much power over you. And I know this is
mm,
probably not what people want to hear, but if it persists and you are losing your mind in this workplace, leave. I know people will say, oh, if you leave, then they win. Um, okay. I'm more concerned about you protecting your mental well being and you being able to go to work happy every day
yeah.
and being able to be productive as opposed to showing
Correct.
off to somebody that
Correct.
I'm going to stay here so that you don't think you've won. Like, find a better
Mm.
job, get better money, move, get promoted, move and go out someplace
Keep
else
it
and be
pushing.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And live a happier life. Okay.
Don't give it
Second one
energy.
here. Second one here is if you've been assaulted by a person in a position of power over you, how do you fight back? What do you do? Especially at
Woo.
work. Look, this is tricky, and I know Cass and I have talked about this before, but
Mm,
I will defer to Captain Benson on this one. And one of the things that she talks about quite a bit, and done some reading on this as well, is even if you find yourself not being in a position of reporting to the police or reporting to the authorities or whatever, they advise you to find someone you're comfortable with, someone you can confide in, someone you trust absolutely, and tell them so that there is an outcry witness. You have to at least
mm,
tell one person, even if you don't know if you can, go through the whole shebang of reporting it and him getting arrested and you having to testify. If you're not sure that you can handle that, there must be at least one person that you trust implicitly. Tell that one
yeah.
person so that there is an outcry witness on record. Because what often happens is when you come out 5 years later, 6 years later, I don't know, 10 years later, say, I'm strong enough and I want to deal this thing and I want this person to pay for what they did to me and how they ruined my life.
Mm.
One of the questions you're often asked is, did you tell
Who did you
anyone
tell?
at the
Who
time
did
where
you
it
tell?
happened? Who did you tell? Do you have an outcry witness? Do you have someone who can back you and be like, I knew when it happened, I supported her. I wanted her to report, but she couldn't do it at the time, so that now you're coming back to fight. There
Yeah.
is someone who can back you up. Because I know,
Yeah.
and again, gone on this journey, I know that the default, and I'm not going to say that that's not the right thing to do. I think the first thing to do is to report it. Because to Cassie's point, do not suffer in silence. That just gives them more power, makes them
They win.
emboldened.
Yeah.
Do
They
not. So
win.
report
And
it to
it's
HR.
yeah. It's
I don't know.
difficult. It's very difficult. And I think so. Okay. And I love that we preface this by saying we don't actually have the answers
We don't have
all
the
the time.
answers.
I love what you've said about an outcry witness. I think that that's so important. It does so much for you in a moment to have a safe space to
Yeah.
be like, this thing has happened and I need to process
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then when you are ready to deal with it, it gives credibility to your story, which is amazing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say something. It's because you did pose the question in the context of work. And I wish, okay, I'm going to preface this by saying it's so dark and it's unfortunate, but I wish we lived in a different world. I wish we lived in a world where reports like this in a work context were taken more seriously and were
Yeah.
acted on more seriously. Um,
Yeah.
but here is the reality. This is something that I've learned, and I've learned the hard way. Okay.
Mm.
HR in a company is there to protect the
The
company.
company, 1000%.
They are not there to protect you.
It's
It's
the sad truth, but
it's
it is the
such
truth.
a sad truth, but
Mm-hmm.
it is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They are there and they're trained on policy, to implement policy, to put in place policies that ultimately protect the company.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do, and that's not to say you shouldn't report it, because I think the other thing that's going to happen is when you're ready to, talk about it publicly or take it, further, is that they're going to say, what else did you do? Did you report it to HR? Did you do the things?
Mm,
You need to be able to say, yes, I did. I took it to HR. Here is the proof. Here is the documented discussions that we had. They said that they would do an investigation. They said that they
mm,
would do all these things. Like you do need to be able to say that. But I think
mm,
do that under the full knowledge
mm.
that they are there to protect the company and not to protect you.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's sad. It's so
it
sad. And I
is
wish it
sad.
was different. And they're going to tell you that they care about you and they're going to tell you that they want to do the right thing. Do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. You must look after you. You must make sure you're doing everything you need to do to look after you.
For me, I am like, even with the knowledge that they're not going to protect you, they're probably going to protect the company and whoever this person is, because usually it's someone in a position of power, right? Who
Of
knows they can get
power.
away
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
My thing is, you do the reporting just so it's on the record. Like,
Correct.
you go into it knowing that this battle is a battle that might
Exactly.
not be fought on your behalf, but
Correct.
much like the outcry witness, you put it on the record and you report it to HR. Let
Correct.
them not do anything about it. But when you're ready to actually fight back, whatever that may look like for you, at least you report, like, it's on the record. You know what I mean? So that's
100%.
what it is for me. And if you are
100%.
choosing to walk away from that position or walk away from that company or whatever because of your peace of mind or because they're not going to fight or they didn't fight for you. Let's even say the investigation went on and they come back and they say nothing useful to you and you're choosing to walk
Mm,
away, do the right thing for you in that.
mm,
I don't think there is any one way to handle dealing with sexual assault or rape or anything. There's no
mm,
one right
mm,
way with it. It's going to look
mm,
different for different people. Um,
mm,
so I think that do what you need in the moment and figure it out as you go along. The most important thing
mm,
is that you are able to heal, from this thing and come on and find your
mm.
back and find yourself back eventually and continue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, look, we don't have the
Oh,
answer,
that's a hard
but
one.
we don't have the answer, but I hope you're able to tell at least one person and have them hold your hand through this process or just be there for you, be a safe space for you.
Yeah.
So, phew, okay. The next one
Heavy.
is how to fight back if your boss or senior colleague consistently passes your work off as their own.
I feel like if you work in corporate, you've been in this situation.
That's why it's here
Like,
because I'm like, what do you do? What's the right thing to do? Like, are we gonna just like burn it all to the ground, or is there a nice diplomatic way of getting of I don't know because if you're doing all of the hard work and getting none of the glory, none of the praise, none of the flowers, and someone else is
yeah.
consistently passing it off as their own and stealing it, you're gonna find yourself and if you stay quiet,
Mm-hmm.
everyone else around you is gonna be getting promoted and you're gonna be stuck there
Mm-hmm.
because nobody recognizes your work.
Correct. 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 Um, okay. Again, this is what I've learned. I'm just gonna speak from what I've learned. It sucks because I'm not someone who likes politics.
Mm,
I'm not someone who likes to play the game. I'm not. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And the reason I don't enjoy it is because quite frankly, I'm not good at it. Okay?
yeah.
I'm very transparent. I'm very upfront. I say what I think.
Mm,
And sometimes that's not a good thing. It's not always good to be so upfront. Um and I think one of the things that I've learned is you can't actually, as much as you want to, avoid the politicking at work.
yeah. Yeah.
You need to find a version of the game that you are happy to play, that
Mm,
keeps you true to yourself, keeps you true to your value system, keeps
mm,
you true and keeps you honest to doing the right thing, etc. But
mm.
in an instance for me, for example, where someone took credit for my work and I was really hoping that they would do a shout out and say, shout out Cassie, that shout out did not come. Okay, it did not come. But I think there was a moment in me where I was like, I am never gonna let that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to let that happen again. So, the first time it happens and you see it, don't be like, oh, this was a one time thing. No, 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 no. The colors have been shown that you now know who the person is. You now know
Yeah.
the caliber of people that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then it becomes about making sure that you figure out who you can trust, who you can't trust, what information you can share, when you can share it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And like different
Yeah.
people are weird. And I hate that this is how it is. I hate that this is how it is. But for example, if you're working on a project and you know that this person is gonna like, how you did group projects at school. There was that one person who
Yeah.
like disappeared, but then showed up for the presentation, got
Yep.
the 80%, and then you're just like, dude, screw you. Like, you
Yeah.
know? If you know that this is the person, like maybe you put in place different things. Maybe they only get access to certain amounts of information. You're never going
Mm.
to be able to see the full puzzle until I want you to see the full puzzle.
Mm.
Like it's that kind of thing. And then at the end, you make sure that the success email comes from you. You
Exactly.
are going to send the success email, not
Yeah.
them. Um, the other good thing to do is if you do have a good relationship with your manager, because in an ideal world, your manager should be someone who is on your side. And I say it again, in an ideal world, okay?
Yeah.
But if you do have a good relationship with your manager, it's important that you keep your manager abreast of where you're at in the work so that they are going, oh, Cassie is doing so much work. Oh, she gave me an update. This is where they're at. Oh, they're 60% through the
Yeah.
project. As
Yeah.
opposed to them not hearing anything from you until
Mm-hmm.
it's time to
Mm-hmm.
close the project.
Yeah.
It helps people see, oh wow, Cassie's actually the one that's been doing the things. Oh, Cassie, Cassie,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah. So basically, I think it's also just about making sure that your manager is also seeing, okay, yeah, Cassie's doing this, Cassie's doing that, and ultimately they've got visibility over the work. So when it comes time to sending that email, people are like, oh yeah, no, but Cassie was leading this thing. So
Mm.
for me, I think that's one way, one of the most important ways as well, is to over
Yeah.
communicate so people know, okay, this is Cassie's show.
Yeah, and I think that in this day and age of receipts, and this was a lesson I learned the hard way, is there is no such thing as a show of good faith when you're working on a project with someone. Like this
Mm,
word of mouth thing, and I trust you, this gentleman handshake thing. Put it in the email. Even if the
put
person
everything in
calls
writing.
you, you
Mm,
go back to the email as per our conversation on phone. Put everything
mm,
down on writing. Like it must be that
mm,
everyone see. Copy whoever needs to be copied. I'm not saying copy
mm,
random people just because, but make sure that whatever conversations you're having in the break room, on the phone, on WhatsApp still comes back to the
mm.
email thread, and like you can show this is the conversation, this is the progress, this is what
Document
happened, this is the action
everything.
doc, because this thing bit me in the ass quite a few
Whew.
times before I
Yeah,
learned before I
yeah,
learned. So
yeah.
yeah, make sure that you are on that thing, because if you are going to have to fight someone and say this is my work, where's the proof? Where did you write it down? Who did you send
Mm,
it to? Where's the email?
mm,
There's
mm,
nothing. So you're just
mm.
saying this, and then you start to look a little bit silly and you look petty. So that's what I would say. Okay.
Yep.
My last one. And this one is inspired by something I saw. Um, there's a Nigerian TV presenter, Olive Mordi, that I think that's her surname. Anyway, who I really like and respect. And she did a campaign with, I can't remember what brand, a Nigerian brand, and they were talking about how women, young, working unmarried women, were being
Mm.
denied housing by landlords for being unmarried.
What?
Yes. So I'm like, how do you even begin to fight that? The only thing you've done wrong here is you're not married. Like you're a single woman, you are working, you're earning a good income, you work at a respectable company, but the fact that you don't have a man above you, a man's ring on your finger, they're being denied housing. Like you can pay the rent. You're showing them that I can afford this. I'm a responsible young woman, but how do you fight back something like that?
For
Be-
me, that one you go straight to the media very quickly. I'm so sorry. Like you tell your story because that's ridiculous. And I think in today's day and age,
Mm,
like there's more public outrage around
yeah,
things like this. So
yeah.
that's a story for me. I wouldn't hesitate to tell you to tell everybody. Send an email to the BBC. Like,
Yeah.
like this is something that's happened, and you put public pressure on them
Mm,
in a situation like that. There was something similar like this that happened in South Africa.
mm,
There was a landlord in Cape Town. Cape Town
mm.
is in South Africa, Cape Town is a predominantly white
Yeah.
area, right?
Mm,
Lots and lots and lots of white people in Cape Town. Um, and there was this hun who had all of the documents to show that she was, could pay the rent, all of the
yeah.
things, etc.
Yeah.
Found a nice apartment, signed the application form saying, I would like to rent this apartment.
Mm,
And then her application got denied.
mm.
Excuse me, her application got denied. And when she asked the agent what was
Mm.
going on and why, the agent very outright said the landlord doesn't want to rent to black people. Like
Shoot.
this is where the landlord is at, you know?
Yeah.
And this hun, she did not keep quiet. Homegirl
Mm,
took the screenshots of the chat, of the landlord, the
mm,
ID number,
mm,
everything, put it on
mm,
social media. Do you know what I mean? And
mm.
it blew up,
Of course
rightfully
it did.
so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. This kind of thing cannot stand anymore in
Yeah.
the society that we live in today. It
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah.
And obviously, landlord obviously bowed to public pressure as they should have. But then it became a whole human rights commission issue, and courts got involved for discrimination. Like,
Love
and
it.
and exactly,
Love
love
it.
it,
Love
love
it.
it,
Love
love
it.
it.
Look,
Kick,
I'm
shout,
not
and
going to
scream.
tell you what you kick, shout, and scream. Actually, that's what I should call this episode kick, shout, and scream.
Kick,
I'm not going
shout,
to
and
tell you
scream.
what you should be doing, but I'm going to tell you what you should definitely not do in this situation is do not go get married so you can get housing. Ah,
Oh gosh. No, that's
we're not doing
please.
that.
That's
Whether
the
it's a
given,
fake
right?
marriage, it's no,
Mm,
people are girl, people are doing things. Whether it's a fake marriage, a marriage on paper, we're not doing that. We're not doing
that's
anything
not the
illegal.
takeaway.
That's not the
Mm,
takeaway. We're not going to go
mm,
find a man to come stand as a guarantor so that we can get the house. No, you're not going to go
mm-mm,
find your brother or find your ex
mm-mm.
boyfriend or your friend's husband to come and stand so that now he can respect that there's a man who's responsible for you. We're not going to do
Please.
that. Kick,
Ridiculous.
shout, and scream, which is what they pretty much did with this docu that they did, because that's what they brought the landlords on set
Mm,
and she had
mm.
like this interview with them and it became a whole
Amazing. What did
thing.
they say?
And
What did the
women,
landlord say?
he
What was their
this
justification
particular
for this
man's this particular
archaic
landlord, his
thinking?
reasoning is that a single woman is automatically promiscuous. That was his reasoning. And he was like, because she's not married, she's going to be bringing all
What?
sorts of men to the house. And he doesn't want that. She needs, and he went on to be like, a respectable woman should be married. Like, why are you not married? What's wrong with you that you're not married, that no man has married you? So it was definitely
Oh
from the
my
Stone Age
gosh.
thinking. Yes, but I liked
Crazy.
that they brought it out to the public because what you're saying
Well
also,
done.
they brought it out. And if you went in the
Make
comment section, it was
noise.
a lot of women basically saying, me too, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. So
Crazy.
um I would love to see a lot of female developers and women become landlords as well because it's nonsense. I'm over it now, you
Amen.
know? I'm over
Amen.
it. I'm
And
over
then,
it.
yeah, no,
How
no,
can you be
no.
punished for not being married? What the hell?
I think
So,
for me, it's crazy for me that the gold standard is the man, because I
of
can
course,
show you trashy man after trashy man after trashy man, that are being supported ultimately by women. The woman is the
of
one that's going
course.
to work. The woman is the one that's like bringing home the money, that's paying the rent, that's paying for this, that's taking the children to school, that's feeding the children, that's giving the children uniform.
Yeah,
Like I can show you a million men who are failing, but yet
yeah.
somehow they're the gold standard.
I had a friend tell me a long time ago, a while back. She was a doctor at the time, and she said that she was completely disrespected at work, and so one day she
Mm.
went out and bought a wedding ring. The moment she started wearing that thing, Mrs. This, Doctor Mrs. Doctor Mrs. She was like the respect she'd not gotten over the years arrived. They stopped speaking to her anyhow. And she wasn't married, mind you. She was not married. But Homegirl was like, I've had enough of the disrespect. And I mean, as a social experiment, it was quite interesting
Quite
because no
interesting.
wedding ring, here comes the
Yeah.
disrespect. Wedding ring, respect up out of nowhere. So to your point, I don't know why the men are the gold standard because you're saying a single woman with promiscuous. Single men are not.
And single men.
What world are you
And then,
living in?
and then
It's ridiculous.
you're
Uh,
ridiculous.
Look, Cass and I
Crazy.
have said we don't have the answers. We're just having a conversation because
About how we've navigated these
how
situations.
we
Like, this
have
is
when
what
we have
I've
had
done,
to.
you know?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, so if you're not sure, what to do, where to start, we hope that this is maybe a starting point or a starting
Mm,
conversation for you that maybe you can have these conversations with someone you trust, a mentor, a coach, a
mm,
senior colleague or whatever.
mm,
But please do not kick, shout, and scream. Don't lie back and pretend you're enjoying it. Don't pretend it's
mm-mm.
okay.
Don't do that
If
thing.
you're new in the corporate world or you're new in the workplace or you're not even new, but it's become the norm for you, I want to challenge this. Don't let someone
Mm.
smack your bum at work or touch your lower back or tell you how
So much
sexy you
touching.
look today. No touching. No touching. Like tell them and be clear about it. If someone touches you the wrong way or looks at you the wrong way or say something to you that you think
Mm,
is derogatory, please say it immediately. There's no fight there, but please don't touch me like that.
mm.
Or please
It's
don't
as
say that
simple as
about me
that.
anymore. And
It's as
and you
simple as
smile and
that.
walk away. Please don't do
Mm,
that. Please don't come to my table and sit on my desk and tell me how good I look
mm,
today and can you take me?
mm,
No, please don't do that.
mm.
So, I mean, we don't have the answers. We hope that you will navigate it your own way. But whatever you do not lie back and pretend you're enjoying it.
Absolutely not.
We would definitely like the conversation to continue because I mean there will be more scenarios to
Yeah.
navigate. So come share with us your experiences, how you've navigated these things. What other advice you have for women in the workplace and business. Wherever. We would definitely love to hear from you. Come chat with us on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and please don't forget to like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify.
Please and thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry if I rocked you,
I'm
but I
rocked.
could
I'm
not
not
be rocked
okay.
by
I'm
myself.
mad. I'm upset. I'm gonna go and eat something now to cope. Like,
Have a drink.
too
Have a
much.
drink. Have some sugar. Feel okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe anywhere and everywhere you find your podcasts. You can also watch and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, love you. Bye.